morning everybody. So today I'm going to do a little video on tack cleaning. I'm not going to strip the saddle and bridle down today. I'm just going to do a quick clean, so that means leaving it all together and wiping it over and soaping it. I'm managing to do this generally on a weekly basis. They recommend you do it every time you ride, but unfortunately I don't have time. So as I say, I do it on a weekly basis, and then every few weeks I strip it all back and give it a really good clean, and I usually treat the leather then as well. So I'll take you through it step by step. Okay, so I've got a little bucket that I've had for a long time and a sponge. I like using a sponge. Some people like a thinner cloth, but I get on best with the sponge. So I'm going to start at the top. Just slide the brow bands down a little bit and just start wiping over top of the headpiece and the top of the noseband, making sure I get rid of any yucky scurf that's in there, and move the brow band up so that I don't miss a bit. And I'm going to go down the rope lash. That bit tends to get a little bit greasy and scurfy just around the underneath his chin, around the brow band. Again, that tends to get a little bit scurfy where it touches his head. Okay, and now I'm just going to go down down the rest of the headpiece and the cheek pieces. Just undone the bottom keeper so I can go inside there. Just turn it inside out to check I'm not missing any scurf, grease. And the same on the other side. There you are. Okay. Now just give my sponge a bit of a clean. And now I'm going to do the nose band. So I did the top bit that goes over the top of the head a minute ago. I'm just going to go down the long sides again. Most of the dirt generally, unless you go really muddy hunting, which I don't do, most of the dirt tends to be on the inside where the grease is from their coat. So I've done the sides. I'm just going to go around the bit that goes over his nose. This is Basil's bridle. And well, we're going into the winter, so he does tend to be a bit more greasy in the winter than he does in the summer, but not too bad really. Okay, and inside the noseband, this bit does get quite greasy over his nose for some reason. I don't really know why that bit always gets so bad. I found that on horses. Now the bit, I try to do the bit, rinse the bit off when I come back from a ride. Basil and I are a bit naughty because we sometimes have snacks on the way. Try and make our hacks sort of relaxing, and sometimes we have a little stop off and I look around and he has a munch, so his bit does get quite dirty, so I try and rinse that off when we've finished. This is a hanging cheek snaffle with a double link. Basil really gets on really well with this bit, but the problem is it tends to get a little bit chewed in the middle. I don't know how, because obviously that bit isn't near his teeth, but so I do have to replace them if it gets obviously bad that it's going to cut his tongue, which we don't want. So I haven't got to do the bit, so I'm just going to go down the reins now. And the reins are actually quite bad today. Wipe over the rubber bits. The rubber bits always wreck the sponge quite quickly. And I'm going to do the bit where the buckle is, and then back down the other rein. we go, so that's it all wiped over. As I say, it's a quick clean. So now I'm going to use my new saddle soap. Just put a little bit on the sponge, just so wipe it round a little bit. It's quite soft, so I don't need water, which is nice because the water all makes the sponge yucky and everything. So there we go. So I've just gone over the headpiece and around the brow band a little bit more. I'm going to go moving the brow band up and down again, down the sides of the headpiece, the throat lash. Hopefully you've seen my blog on parts of the bridle if you're not familiar. And down the cheek pieces. Again, up and under where the buckle was. And now the nose band. As before, I did over the top really before. Okay. Right, so that's the nose band done. A little bit more soap. Down the reins. It only needs like a quick wipe over. Now, so that's the bridle done. Now what I didn't do was the martingale, because that's something that a lot of people don't have. I have one on Basil because sometimes he puts his head in the air if he gets too excited, so it just helps keep him slightly under control. Not smack me in the face and knock my teeth out or break my nose, which is never a nice thing to happen to anybody. Right, so I'm just now gonna, I've not taken this off the bridle obviously, so I'm just gonna, this bit tends to get muddy in the winter. We haven't had that much mud for riding out yet, although it's a bit muddy in the field, so it's not too bad. And the neck strap of the martingale is another bit that gets particularly bad. And his greasy neck. And give that a good scrub. Having this bridle rack on the ceiling is fantastic. It makes it so much easier for cleaning. There we are. So that's that done, and then I'm just going to wipe over that, all the bits of leather with the soap. And there we are, that's it done. So to make it look pretty when it's on the hook, I'll pick up the bit on the end of the martingale, the martingale neck strap and the reins, or just the reins if you had the reins. I forgot to put the keepers back in. Just put the keepers back in. There we are. Then if you get the throat lash, pull it around the front, slide it through the middle of your three things you've got in your hand, back round the front again, and do the throat lash up. And you can do the nose band up as well if you like. And there we are, it looks really smart on the rack. So we've done the bridle, now we're going to do the saddle. I've got, as a not sure if I've mentioned before, I have a leather girth. I have a nice seat saver, so I'll have to take that off. And we're going to let the stirrups down. I'm going to leave the number on, leave the stirrups attached. This is a quick clean. So, same process as the bridle. start one side. I won't do underneath. Underneath won't be particularly dirty for a quick clean. Although actually the number looks pretty bad. I have to probably take that home and give that a wash today. So we're just wiping over the saddle caps, making sure we get rid of any dirt. The stirrup leathers, I'm just going to pull them away so that I can get that bit and go underneath there. The top a little clean, a little wipe over, and do the same this side. I wanted to try and do this in real time rather than clip and edit it, so that you can actually see how long it takes. I have had to move a bit of furniture in between when I did stop the video. Okay, so that's the leather wiped over. Next thing we'll do is do the girth, and I'm going to come back and do the stirrups. So I'm just wiping over girth. Concentrating on any bits that might get a bit scurfy, greasy. This is a fantastic saddle horse that we found at a old house sale a few years ago, and it's brilliant. It's much better than the metal ones you can buy. So I'll keep getting my sponge clean. If you need to, you can get some clean water in between the saddle and the bridle, but for a quick clean, if you do it regularly, it shouldn't get that grubby. I'm looking at my tack thinking I didn't do it last week, so actually it's quite bad grease wise from before I clipped Basil. There we are, that's done. Now I'm just going to give the stirrups a wipe over. Just to get any of there's lots of mud or anything, but mine aren't too bad. When I strip it, I soak the stirrups. There we are. So I'm just going to give the sponge a good rinse, because now it might have a bit of mud on it. Sometimes if it's really muddy, I rinse it under a tap, because otherwise you're just spreading the mud around. So now, bit of saddle soap again. And just, I'm going to do a full review of this saddle soap, but so far I love it. It is more expensive than the stuff I used to buy, but it goes on so nicely. Just in case you haven't seen my haul video, it's from Albion. It's natural leather soap. As I say, it's quite dear, but you get a huge big tub, and I've hardly made an indent on it at all. There we are. So I'll leave the stirrup dangling for a bit because it's a bit damp. I'll probably get a towel in a minute and give that a dry actually. Okay, and the other side. More difficult to show you the parts of the saddle than it was the bridle. Oh, dropped it on the floor, landed the right way up luckily. But when I strip it, we'll be able to do that if you're interested. So here we are, right. Final stirrup leather, the second stirrup leather. When I strip it, I try to swap them from side to side as well, because I find they really stretch stirrup leathers, mad as it is. As I say, I'm not doing the bottom today. I'm going to take the number home and give it a wash. Let's do the girth. I tend to do it underneath first, and then, which seems a little bit, well, because then when you do the top, as a knight, I like to do it like holding it. You're going to touch it so it won't be as shiny. It's a bit silly really, but so as I say, it's not a really fantastic clean, just a quick clean. Got a little towel. I'm just going to dry the stirrups off before I wind them back up. I don't want to get dirty water on the stirrups. I don't like these keepers. I find the stirrup leathers rub the inside of my legs if I use those, but also it makes a big mark on the saddle where the leather sits, so I'm not a big fan of those. Okay, clean saddle, clean bridle, which we did earlier, and that's a quick clean. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please subscribe and keep watching. Thanks very much guys, bye!